If there's one thing I know about Minecraft is that getting rid of tedium is a huge deal. It's boring to fish. It's boring to mine. It's boring to play with my friends. Actually, no, it's not. That one's not boring. Basically, anything where you can automate a process, AFK fishing, auto iron farms, any type of farm. So this is an auto farm for piglin trading. We are currently in Minecraft snapshots, and in those snapshots, which are development builds of Minecraft, not yet released, but a good preview of what is to come, piglins can barter. They give you all sorts of useful stuff, but bartering can be a process. The piglins run all over the place. You want to keep them in one spot. Stop moving around, you stupid piglins. So I myself have designed my very own AFK bartering chamber so that you can barter with piglins very, very efficiently, easily, and you get all the loot. So here we are inside of Minecraft, and this is what we are going to be making, and I'm so proud of it. I made this myself. I made it. It's like a Valentine. I made this just for you. Here's how it works. You got a little area up here that will dispense gold at a very specific rate of time. Then down here, the piglins will grab that gold, consider it for a little while, and then throw out their bartered item. That item will get picked up by the hoppers underneath and then deposit them into the chests down below. You can also turn this thing off if you get annoyed with the clicking sound, or you can add more gold, or if the gold is gone and all that sort of stuff, so you can control all of the redstone. So down here in the chests, bartering is super duper powerful. Power up. No, I don't mean like that. I mean like the blocks that you get from bartering are some blocks that are really difficult to get any other way. So looking inside of this chest that's now full of stuff that has been bartered, I'm going to point out a few other really cool things. First off, netherite hose. That's pretty cool. You got a ton of crying obsidian, which currently, as of recording this video, this is the only way to get crying obsidian. So if you want it, you don't have to make something like this, but if you want to be efficient and quick about it and do it while AFK and not have to worry about gold despawning or standing there and throwing gold at piglins, this is a great way to get crying obsidian. Shroom lights, that's really nice. Obsidian, that's really nice. Ender pearls, this is great, especially if you haven't been to the end yet. If you have not gone through the process of getting to the end, getting ender pearls is like the hardest part of making eyes of ender. This is a farm that gives you ender pearls without killing any endermen. Amazing. You also have magma cream, which is not a lot of magma cubes spawn, so if you want to believe that that is a fire resist potion. Also, nether quartz. This is a sustainable and renewable way to get nether quartz. Obviously, you can see all sorts of other stuff. Potions of fire resistance. You got leather, gravel, some of the warped fungus and glowstone dust. So this is a really, really powerful way to get, I keep saying powerful, I don't know why. This is a very useful way of getting all of these blocks in a manner that does not require a lot of input from the player. I have been working on a version of this ever since the piglin bartering system came out. I started with just a big pit to put the piglins in and a whole bunch of hoppers, and you would just throw them gold. But obviously you have a few issues with that type of design. One is that the gold will just get sucked up by the hoppers at the bottom. You want a way to capture their barters, also a way that they can pick up gold so that the gold does not fall into the hoppers. Basically, you need a one-way system, because also wherever the gold will fall, wherever they can pick it up, if let's say it was just a block here on the side and we put gold in that area, well, they might throw their bartering things at that area which has no hoppers. So you need a system that will let gold through but will not let items back into that area with the gold. And holy moly, I am just now realizing, why do we have so many zombified piglins? The heck? What are y'all doing here? Go away. Go, shoot. So this contraption solves that. The other issue that you have is whenever you are giving these piglins gold, you don't want to give them too much gold at any one moment, because then your gold could despawn before they would have a chance to pick it up, consider it, and then give you the barter. And you don't want to give them too little gold, otherwise it's just not efficient. So this contraption solves both problems of having a one-way system system for gold to go to the piglin, but for their barters to not go back to where the gold is, and then to also fix that timing issue of giving them just the right amount of gold. The first issue is solved by this little bit of soul sand, and I chose soul sand just because it is so abundant in the nether, but you could also use a path block, although you would need to get a grass block in order to do that. And believe me, that's not easy. You got to either have a silk touch shovel, which if you have one, congratulations to you. If you don't have one, you can kill an enderman that is carrying a grass block, but when you can just use soul sand, why not? Or you could bring in snow layers here and layer it up. Basically, because soul sand is technically super short, you actually fall into soul sand just a little bit. It gives the piglin the access to the gold, so it's sitting on that block, but then, whoops, and I just picked it up too. It sits on that block, but because there's an itty bitty gap with soul sand, then the piglin can reach that gold through the block, but they cannot throw items back through that soul sand. It is just too thin and narrow of an area for that entity to do that. So that solves issue number 1. Issue number 2 of the timing was a little bit more difficult and required some math on my part. Whenever a piglin picks up an item, so you can see him considering this gold here, he will sit there and stare at that gold for about 6 seconds. So my math was pretty simple, is if we could fit 6 piglins into an area and then make sure that the dispenser fires off 1 piece of gold every second, that would mean that there is always a piece of gold basically ready for a piglin to be able to pick it up. So right here, these repeaters are the thing that are delaying the dispenser from putting out that gold, and they're basically on a 4-tick delay, which means about 6 pieces of gold will happen 1 piece every second. Now, you could actually mess with this. So if you put this at basically at the basic delay, it will output a lot more gold, and that will put out 10 pieces of gold for every 6 seconds. And that means that you could make this happen faster if you put in 10 piglin into this area. So I just went ahead and did that, added those 10 extra piglin, and you can see that the gold should be able to be just fine. We're not going to have an excess of gold because those piglins will pick that up, and now that there's 10, it'll all work. So you could make this faster or slower depending on how many piglin you want to bother to wrangle up and put inside of this area. And just because I'm a nice guy, I put it right there for you. So a 2-tick delay equals 10 pigmen, and you need a minimum of 2 ticks because this repeater adds a tick and that repeater adds a tick, and you do need both of those. You could have 10 piglin inside. A 3-tick is 8, 6 piglin would be 4 ticks, and 4 piglin would be 5 ticks in order to make sure you don't have any gold just lying around. Aren't I nice? Aren't I nice? I did that just for you. Did all the math. So let's actually go ahead and make this crazy contraption. Right here is everything that you need in order to make it. 8 chests, 12 hoppers, a dispenser, a lever, a redstone comparator, 2 redstone repeaters, 5 dust, some glass, and some smooth stone. Doesn't have to be smooth stone, but I like to use smooth stone because it's easy to count because it has really defined edges. I've said that before. If you've ever watched one of my tutorials, I've said that before. So let's get crack-a-lackin'. The first thing that you want to do is find an area where piglin are already hanging out. Oh, by the way, if I didn't say this before, obviously you need a lot of gold. Like, you need like a lot of gold. You should probably already have a gold farm set up. There have been a few ways to have gold farms using the zombified pigmen in the past, because every once in a while when they drop, they will drop those little golden nuggets. And if you get a lot of these guys spawning, then you can get a lot of golden nuggets and craft those into ingots. At the moment, I do not know if there is a farm for 1.16. That'll probably be a future video. Ha! So the first step is to find some piglins, and the Crimson Forest or the Nether Wastes are where these guys spawn, and really getting them all together is gonna be your most difficult problem because they like to move around and they are hard to sort of keep in one spot because to keep getting scared from stuff. They get scared of the zombified pigmen, and they get scared from other stuff. They run around, they try to fight hoglins and blah. So I've made my way to a fresh new area, and I can already see that we got like 2, and we have this 1 zombified pigman, and we have the 2 piglins with a baby. I really hate the babies. They don't help you at all. Oh, good. We got some more. So basically what I would do to start off this build is to make a trough just for your piglin. And I would basically just build a hole that they need to stay in. A hole above ground is probably a better solution because you do need to get them into your contraption eventually, and that'll be more difficult if they're underground. So just create an area where once they fall into it, they're going to stay inside of here. You may want to put a ladder in the corner and then start luring them over with gold. So you could take your little gold. Oh, yeah, you could do that too. That made my job freaking easy. Thank you. So we got this guy over here. I tossed down some gold on the ground to get him to come and look at it. If I could, I would kill that little baby thing because he's going to steal all the gold and get this guy all mad. So you can see that he's going to start bartering with me immediately as he is sort of following me with gold. This does not work the same way as, say, the sheep or cows where they will follow you exactly. The gold does need to be on the ground itself for him to actually want to go and pick it up. A thing to note is that you need to make sure that your zombified piglin, or sorry, get out of here, you're messing me up. I said zombified piglin. That your piglin will not despawn because they are considered a mob that would do that. They are not going to be a type of mob that will hang around forever. So in order to do that, all you have to do is give them some type of armor or a weapon, and then just like any other type of mob, they will not despawn. So now that I've sort of gotten him over here, I could try to push him in, go in. Go in. There we go. Now he's falling in. So you can lure them with some armor. So if I throw this armor on the ground, he'll also go and pick that up. And now you have a bonus that this guy who picked up those boots, he will not despawn if you were to move away from this area. And he's totally lost interest. And we have another guy right here. Maybe make him some boots as well. Boots are the simplest because they are the cheapest to make. So if I throw this over here, come on guys, let's start moving. So you didn't pick up boots before, but now you will. So both of these guys will not despawn, which is nice because if you get into a situation where there just are no piglin around and you've been trying forever to get some more over here, as long as the current piglins that you have don't despawn, then you can just run off, and then when you come back, more will spawn. And I found that if you throw the gold over onto an edge, not just right here, sometimes when they're just on this bottom step, they'll pick up the gold and it's not worth it. So now I can push this guy in, and now we have 3. These guys down here, I do need to make sure that they have some golden boots, so we're going to give them those as well, and everybody will not despawn. Once you have your piglin in a cage and you know that they're not going to despawn because you've given them some type of armor, or you could name them also, that's like everybody knows that, then go ahead and start to build your AFK area right next door. I'm going to start with the chests, and that'll just give me a nice place to sort of imagine the rest of this to be built. So we are going, whoa, that was weird, I just put it in my offhand. We're going to put in some hoppers facing into that chest. If you plan on having any more chests below it, you can add those now and just make sure that the nozzles of the hoppers are pointing into that area, and then you could put the chests in at a later moment. That later moment is now. So now we have these hoppers pointed into that chest. We're gonna take some hoppers, point them into those hoppers. So if I could do it, then more hoppers pointed into those hoppers right there, and that way you sort of have this situation where these will go into the middle, those will go into the middle, and then the middle will push them all over here, and then will possibly go down. In this situation, this hopper right here is the one that is putting it into this chest, and also the one that would get basically stolen from to go and place it in the chests below. If this hopper gets overwhelmed with things, so if I were to put a whole stack of stuff into, whoops, I did it, where did I put it? Oh, I put it in the middle hopper. Okay, this one right here. If I put a stack of stuff in there and it's kind of overwhelmed, the one below it will grab out of the top hopper, but this hopper will also push into this chest. So you may have a situation where you're filling both the bottom and the top chest if this hopper gets a little bit overwhelmed. It's okay, buddy. Don't be overwhelmed. Now that you have your hoppers down, let's go ahead and just put the glass around it. The glass that I quoted you in terms of needing to make this build doesn't have the corners, and also this doesn't even need to be glass. It's just glass because it's kind of cool to see all the piglins inside, and you could build this out of solid blocks if you don't have any glass to spare. Now that we have our walls, we can go ahead and put down our soul sand, which I'm just now realizing was not part of the original shopping list of things that were in that first chest. You are kidding me. Get out of here. Now I'm going to build 1, 2, 3 temporary blocks, break out the bottom 2, and then take your dispenser and place it facing directly down over that soul sand, and then you can break that last temporary block. Now, I like to keep this middle area just filled with glass so I can see what's going on. Whoops. But you don't have to have it like that if you don't want. So if you don't want to use a whole bunch of glass, you don't have to. Now, off of whatever you want to be the back of your build, you can place down a few solid blocks, and you're going to need enough for the comparator, the repeater, some redstone, a repeater, some more redstone, and then one more solid block right next to your dispenser. And we're just going to build out exactly what I explained: a comparator, a repeater, some redstone connecting to another repeater, and then a little bit of redstone going up to the top. This is where you would add your delay. Remember that whenever you drop a repeater down, it already has a single tick of delay on it. We have 6 of our piglins, so from the math I did earlier, we are going to need 4 bits of delay. So I'm adding 2 extra onto this repeater, and that's perfect. Now, if I want to make sure that I never run out of gold again, just stick a hopper on top and then a double chest on top of that in any orientation, doesn't matter, and you can put your gold into that. And like I said, we need a lot of gold. As we put that in there, immediately this is going to start firing off in the delay that we have set. So if we take a lever and we put it on this block and turn it on, then that should stop the whole process. Another thing to mention is that this does need to be clicked. So that little torch at the front needs to be turned on. That'll just make sure it's in subtract mode so it won't freak out once this dispenser gets completely full. And so if we want to, we can go back and grab our gold here. There we go. And then throw that back into the dispenser. Also, make sure that this area right here is filled in with any type of block. It could be glass if you want to keep the glass thing going, but that'll just make sure that they don't accidentally throw their barters out of the top of our build here. I found that the most effective way to get the piglins from this area into that area is to use some soulfire. So if you have a soulfire torch, if you have some soul soil and want to just light it on fire, you can do all of those things. If you have a baby in this area, these babies just take gold and they don't really ever give it back. So try to open up a little hole, a 1x hole, and then they'll most likely run out. If they don't run out, then open up that hole and then put down your soulfire torch and they'll try to run away from it and the baby will get out of there. So if we put down our soulfire torch over here, the piglin will hate that and they will try to move away. And where do we want them moved away to? Inside of our build. So we're going to break the bottom one, break the top one, and they will all sort of pile in to get away from that soulfire, and then we can close them right back up, which is pretty darn easy. Then we just turn on our contraption and it will release the gold. Then our piglins will look at it and barter away, tossing items into the hoppers down below. And automatically, we've already killed a few things that were in the area. So, you know, some of this stuff is like holdover from that. But they'll start dropping in all of their items. Once again, that one hopper gets a little bit overwhelmed. There's a few ways to fix that. The easiest way is to make sure that all of these hoppers go into basically a buffer chest, and then that buffer chest is what gets pulled to fill in the rest of your inventory. You can do it in any way that you want. And what is fantastic about this if you didn't remember from the title, is that this is completely AFK. Now, you don't need to do any extra work. All you need to do is make sure that this area is loaded. You've already given all of these piglins something to make sure that they won't despawn and stop working. These are bad employees if they were done like that. And you just chill. You know that the gold should not despawn. You have a pretty good timing going on with all of that. You still have a 5-minute buffer if for some reason the piglin are not cooperating, and you'll probably be just fine with a, you know, whatever normal amount of gold that you happen to have. It'll eventually run out and you'll have a full inventory of things down here. And there you have it, my AFK piglin bartering farm that I made myself. I hope that you enjoy it because I'm very proud of it. Thanks so much for watching this episode of OMG Craft. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a big old thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe for future videos, tips, tricks, tutorials, and spotlights here on OMG Craft. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.